emotion you go through, whether it's extreme joy or raging anger. If you feel stuck in your life and business, it's because some part of you has actually hit a threshold, and those thresholds are tied to emotions. My name is Tyler Watson. I'm the founder of Elite Performance Coaching. Welcome to my channel. Today, you're going to learn how to break free from those thresholds and step into your power consistently by letting yourself be the master, not your emotions. First off, thresholds. What are thresholds? Thresholds happen in every area of life. And what it is this. It's where you are doing something and you kind of hit a peak. And then you can't break it. Anyone ever seen that flea in the jar experiment where they have fleas and you screw on the jar and the fleas will hit the lid over and over and over? You take off the lid and they'll only jump that high. They've met a threshold. So they actually get used to it and it's like, oh, this is only as far as I can jump. Because that's what they are taught. Oh, if I hit that, it's painful, right? We go through life and we experience these pain points where this is represented by a pain, and we say, oh yeah, Tyler, when I was making $1,000 a month, and I was like, I made $3,000 in a month, but then I dropped right back down to balance it out to where I was like, ow. So my average, let's say if my average here was, my normal was, I was used to like 1,000 a month, and then I went up to this 3,000 mark, and I'm like, yeah, 3,000. But it scared me. Like, I remember that first time I did it and I was like, man, if I maintain this, that's like triple my annual income. And I like freaked out. I was like, can I do this? Is it legal? Am I going to get like in trouble? Am I good enough? Can I maintain it? What if I don't do it? And I remember I hit that 3,000 mark in a month, and then I dropped down to making even less than normal. Where instead of like my normal was 1,000. And so then I ended up the next 3 months, I made like $300. It was horrible. It was horrible. And it averaged out to be back to my 1,000 mark. So it was like, as I did this, I was like, oh my goodness, we have these thresholds that we have in life that we'll hit a mark, and this works for relationships as well. Let's say you have a relationship and you're like, wow, I feel so much love. And let's say like you're used to a certain frequency and vibration, and then you experience a really great like moment of, oh, I feel so in love. And so, oh, my partner and I, we had such a great experience. But then, because you're not used to that, you settle and something goes worse. Like, anyone ever experienced that where you have a really great time with someone and then something bad happens? Like you get triggered, you get angry, you get upset, and then it kind of goes back to stagnant, like in the middle again, right? So these things tend to be what are called thresholds. Thresholds are usually things that have a lot of either pain or pleasure. And I saw this year after year after year doing stuff with myself and trying to get my goals and working on thousands of people. And I was like, well, I guess the name of the game then is, how do you raise your threshold? How do you get that up, right? How do you be like, hey, if that's my threshold, how do I raise that sucker up to just make it not a threshold, make this my normal? So one of the ways that you change your threshold is actually through your emotional states. Your emotional states. Now, this is going to be something you guys aren't going to like. So we need to change our emotional thresholds, because each one of these things is tied to emotions. Making money, having health, having wealth, whatever it might be, relationships, each one of those is an emotional state of being, right? So if I think of a baby, right? If you think of a baby, their emotional expression is very big. Would you agree? Would you agree? So it's very big range. They have high levels of joy and high levels of pain and frustration. My 2-year-old, she is very good at expressing the full range of emotions, just going at it. Oftentimes in the middle of the night, we're like, oh, we can do this. We got this. So, but high levels of expression, right? When they laugh, full out. When they express pain and frustration, full out. They don't hold back. But what happens is they start to go through life and things happen. There's these thresholds that start to happen in life. Pains and too much occurs, where instead of experiencing the full range of emotions, they start to shrink. Oh, be quiet. Don't do that. That's frustrating. Something happens. Lose money, somebody gets hurt, and you start to lose that expression. Oh, instead of playing big, I don't play as big. I'm not as excited anymore. And it's kind of sad to see that. But the cool thing is, we don't have to settle for the beans. That's the beans. No more beans, right? We're not going to settle for settling for thresholds. You can make the change. So, as I learned how to let go of these thresholds, which we're going to do right now, and you're not going to like it, but it's going to be epic, and you're going to do it anyway because you're someone with no limits, it's going to get your expression back. Expand that threshold. So, I learned that if you express something at a 10x level, like joy, even sadness, even depression, even anger, when you express something and you 10x it, it expands your threshold. Why do we close it? Because we're afraid. So we go through this, and the key is actually to express, to fully express. And when we resist an emotion, push it, go beyond it. And then you expand your ability to experience emotional states. If you fear something, 10x that fear. Go into it. 10x it. 10x it. So, if you're in a place where there's people, then just tell them, hey, I'm going to be doing some loud stuff here. And that's okay. If you hear me yelling and screaming, that's all right. I'm expressing. Okay. So what you're going to do is we're going to go and express some stuff. Okay. Now you might fear this, you might avoid it, but I promise you, if you allow yourself to move through this, you're going to find some really cool breakthroughs. So remember that as you're going to do this experience, I want you to 10x your expression, but words, body language, and tone. Only you are the judge. You can play all out, or you can suppress it and continue living a limited life. Either way, it's your choice. So I didn't want to build my funnel. I avoided it like the plague. I did not like it. I did not want to try those green eggs and ham. I did not want to try them at all. So I was just like, procrastinating. Oh, cool, a little game on my phone. Oh, yeah. I'll go coach somebody. Yeah, let's do that. I can do that. Let's do that instead. But I knew I need to get this funnel done. Like, this thing is what's keeping me back. So I took a piece of paper and I wrote on it, nice and big, funnel. That is my fear. As illogical as it seems. I was like, I'm just avoiding it. So I thought, okay, to break through this, I got to 10x my expression. So I need to express fear towards this at a 10 times level. So funnel, fear. I had this fear. So I looked at it and I thought, okay, normally as a child and you're scared, what kind of expression is fear? Like as a child, if you could fully express fear, do they completely like go quiet and don't say anything? Or is it like very loud and extreme? Pretty loud and extreme, right? Now as an adult, we're taught to stuff it. Like fear, just like we just freeze. So not that fear. So I was like, oh man, the fear that I avoid is like the loud one. So I was like, okay, I got to 10x my expression and I want to do it for over a minute at least. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to express sheer terror for 1 minute. Then I would do it this way. You got to kind of prime your throat too. So you got to go all out, almost as if you're like in an acting class, but it's real. And you're like, this is you're like acting for real. Okay. So this is how it goes. So I get it. I really build up that fear. I don't want to confront it. For a minute. Go on and on and on for a full minute. Just like, and you're like throw it and you're like holding it and you're like screaming and yelling and crazy. And number one, what happens is after you're done, you like stand there and you're like, well, all right, let's get the funnel done. All right. And then I just did the funnel. I was like, that was so stupid. Why was I waiting 2 weeks procrastinating this fear? Because I was afraid of it until I experienced the fear. And I didn't die. But you have to 10x it. If it's just like, I'm scared, funnel, it's not going to work. So you have to go and express, because why? Because I was afraid of that expression. I had hit a threshold. So that threshold kept me bound. Now the same goes for ideal emotions. Now when I want to have joy, I can go there. I can victory win it and I can own it. And I can be like, dude, I can fully do it. Doesn't mean I have to be stuck in it. No. The key is not to be stuck in an emotion. Stuck. So if I can go there and get out, it means I don't have to fear it, avoid it. I can choose it. Choice is power.
Was it me? No, it was each and every one of you. So we all chose to do that. No one forced you. No one made you. You chose, which is freaking awesome.